Uber and
Alright,
Bolt
good
exploiting
evening,
drivers and
everybody. It's
passengers,
your boy
and they need
Rizzo.
to be held accountable.
Welcome to Uber Chronicles. Yeah, I haven't been around for a while, guys. I've been depressed. Mainly because the things that are happening on Uber and Bolt, and they're not making sense. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a breakdown of how Uber and Bolt operate, so that you can actually understand the frustrations of drivers in general, so that you can understand why drivers are such angry human beings, and their service keeps deteriorating all the time. And yeah, so how Uber and Bolt operates is, for each and every trip that we take, they take about 25%. And that 25% is just for the app. So what they are also doing is they are flooding the market with a lot of cars. And it's become very difficult to earn a living through driving Uber. So I know I had said that I'm gonna be telling stories of what happens on my Uber rides, and I haven't been posting stuff of late. That's because, guys, like I've said, I've just been depressed. Uber is just depressing, and that is the honest truth. And so let me just give you a breakdown of how Uber and Bolt operates. So they've got a thing called dynamic pricing. So dynamic pricing is when the demand is high, the prices become higher. When the demand is low, the prices become less. And that has actually created problems for us with clients. I think I've once told you a story of a guy that fought with me and said I cannot rob him. That's daylight robbery. It was because of the whole dynamic pricing. The guy I ended up going to the bar with and having a few drinks with, who turned out to be someone that I actually knew. So yeah. So how dynamic pricing works is, let me give you an example. You take an Uber from your house going to the stadium, for example. This is a perfect example because it usually happens when you are going to a place where there's going to be a concert or a match or something. So you take your house, let's hypothetically say from Joburg to Orlando Stadium. The app will charge you maybe 150 rand. So from the 150 rand, they will take their 25%, and all the overheads belong to the driver. When I say overheads, I mean everything, from the fuel to the maintenance of the car to the insurance to the everything that you can think of that has to do with a car is upon the driver. And Uber and Bolt doesn't help with anything. So yeah, it is quite sad. And then now, imagine you've paid your 150, and then now you've watched your match. Now you need to go back home. So what dynamic pricing does is, when the demand is high, the prices go high. Imagine you've gotten to Orlando Stadium and you paid 150. How is it fair that you end up paying 350 to 500 rand when you have to go back home? That is daylight robbery. We can say whatever. It doesn't make sense. It's not balanced. It makes us as drivers fight with customers, because a customer will tell you, I paid 150 to come here. Why am I paying double or triple the amount now? And they will still take their 25% out of that trip, and we still have to bear the brunt of fighting with customers. So guys, what hurts me the most, especially when it comes to these e-hailing companies, is I spend most of my time driving people around. I basically live more than 50% of my life driving customers around, whether it's for Uber or it's for Bolt, because those are the main apps that I use. And the saddest part is, this thing is always ringing in my head. It disturbs me. I don't want to lie to you. The fact that if anything is to happen to me today, if I could be involved in an accident, if people can decide to hijack me and kill me, if ever anything can happen to me, those that actually depend on me are immediately affected, because at my funeral, there won't even be a representative from Uber. It will just be my fellow drivers, and I won't have any remuneration, any money that's given to my family. Nothing will be given to my family. And currently, the way Uber operates, drivers are living from hand to mouth. It's a fact. The drivers are living from hand to mouth. We are not able to save anything. And if my car is to get involved in an accident, I am immediately broke. Immediately, I have to start asking for money for food. I have to start asking for money for fuel, for whatever. I immediately become broke. So you tell me, guys, how is it fair that we spend, all these drivers that you see on the road, they spend most of their lives driving an Uber car or a Bolt car, whatever the case is, and they leave their homes at 6 in the morning. They come back home the following day, sometimes at 1 a.m., sometimes at 12 a.m. And they wouldn't have made a lot of money, just so you know. It's not like before. So they wouldn't have made a lot of money. So how Uber and Bolt has done it is, so they've created they've flooded the industry with a lot of cars. Anyone who wants to be a driver can just buy a car, put it on Uber or Bolt, and they start working, and that's it. And now the industry is extremely flooded that drivers are constantly having to fight for customers. And you know, I've had instances like yesterday. Today is actually the 12th. It's a Saturday. It's the 12th of August, 2023. Yesterday, the 11th of August, 2023, I had an incident in Carlton Center in Johannesburg, CBD, where I wanted to pick up people, and I didn't know it was a taxi territory, a metered taxi territory. When those guys came to the car, those guys, you know, we had a scuffle. They took the customers, put them in their car, and they took all the money that I had. And I was actually trying to put together money to buy fuel. So it is quite frustrating. It is flipping frustrating, and I don't understand why the government doesn't intervene so that Uber and Bolt can be accountable. Because, guys, honestly, those people that have families, believe me, if you've got a wife, your wife is probably complaining because you are never at home, and you bring in less money. So what's the use of you spending so much money on the road if you are going to bring in less? I myself am facing the same problem. My wife is always complaining, and there's nothing I can do. I still have to put bread on the table. And you know, we've become so independent that it becomes very difficult for us to look for jobs so that someone can hire us, and we have bosses. It's so difficult. We are now so independent that it is so difficult just to have a boss. Someone needs to put Uber accountable. I don't know who, because even customers have been robbed on these platforms. Even drivers have been robbed and killed on these platforms. And still, Uber and Bolt remains unaccountable. They block drivers left, right, and center. Right now, our cars need to be checked by DEKRA, and DEKRA is very strict. And how do you maintain a car when you cannot even maintain yourself? When you cannot even maintain your own family? How are you able to maintain a car? Engage me, guys. Ask your questions. This is quite frustrating for me, and it's quite personal. Hence, I've put it out there so that you guys can understand what Uber drivers really go through. We are a bunch of depressed, sad, antisocial human beings who live on the street, who eat junk, who have no life, basically. I'm sorry, but Uber drivers, we've got no life. We don't have time for anything except to drive people around and just chase after that paper which hardly comes by. We are not even breaking through. All right, guys, so that is my issue for today. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Okay, Rizzo out. Enjoy. Bye.